If you've ever scrolled through social media, you've probably come across a ton of videos with this caption, or something like it. And honestly, they're not wrong. However, these videos usually focus on how much of a ham the capybaras are and how human-like their behavior is. But there's more to these clips than meets the eye. So today we gonna set the record straight on what is really going on in these videos, and why capybara bars are more than just cute. Now, if you've seen any of our other videos, you know that we love talking about rodents. So when we found out that there was a giant guinea pig that lived in South America, we were sold. Now, the capybara is the world's largest rodent. They can be anywhere from 30 to 60 inches long, not including their tail, which can add another 10 inches or so to their total length. These guys can weigh upwards of 150 pounds, making them almost the size of a black bear. These massive rodents live in groups of up to 100 individuals in marshes, riverbanks, and swamps throughout South America. Their name comes from the Tupi language and translates to master of the grass. And that's pretty fitting considering that they spend most of their time grazing on aquatic plants. However, they are omnivores, so they will eat pretty much anything else that they want, including fruit, bark, roots, tubers, and agricultural products like sugarcane. Yes, they do sometimes raid people's farms for snacks, which can cause some conflict between the capybara and humans. In the wild, they typically have two main predators, the jaguar and the anaconda. So they've evolved to be wary of both on land and in the water. They spend roughly half of their lives submerged in water, and they can hold their breath for around 5 minutes at a time. The rest of their time is spent looking for food, socializing with other members of their herd, and keeping an eye out for danger. Because of their size and strength, adult capybara have very few predators aside from jaguars and anacondas. But young capybara are sometimes preyed upon by caimans, herons, monkeys, jaguars, and even pelicans try their luck. Now, let's get back to those videos you've been seeing on social media. You may have noticed that a lot of them feature a capybara bar being led around on a leash by a human. And honestly, there's nothing too strange about this. Domestic pigs are also omnivorous, highly intelligent animals who are capable of forming strong bonds with their caretakers. And domestic pigs are routinely trained to walk on leashes. In fact, some people even take their pet pigs for walks in the park. And while the idea of a giant guinea pig on a leash might seem funny, it's basically the exact same thing. However, there is a dark side to these videos. In 2019, a viral video showed a man riding a capybara like a horse. This prompted authorities in Brazil to open an investigation into animal abuse. And when they tracked down the owner of the capybara, they found that he had several other illegally captured wild animals, including monkeys, birds, turtles, and even a baby tapir. And while we don't know exactly what happened to the capybaras after this video was made, it's important to remember that wild animals belong in the wild. Yes, capybaras can form bonds with humans, and yes, they are highly intelligent, but they are still wild animals. And the more time they spend with us humans, the less equipped they'll be to survive in the wild. It is no fun for anyone if your pet gets loose and has to be euthanized because it wasn't microchipped or it couldn't be returned to its natural habitat. Also, taking wild animals out of their habitat can be incredibly stressful for them. And for a highly social animal like a capybara, it can be downright traumatizing. If you see any videos like this on social media, please report them so that the platform can look into it. Now, moving on to cuter things, have you ever noticed that capybaras kind of look like they have a smile on their face? Well, if you took a second to think about that, you might have realized that it's not actually a smile. Capybaras don't smile. It's just their lips. But why do they keep their mouths open all the time? Well, they do it for a few reasons. First, capybaras snore, like a lot. In fact, they snore so loudly that it's sometimes called the loudest snoring mammal. So keeping their mouths open allows them to breathe easier while they sleep. Second, their mouth breathing helps keep insects away. And third, it allows them to better survey their surroundings. When you snore with your mouth open, it's easy to spot predators coming. If you kept your mouth shut, you might miss warning signs. Now, speaking of sleeping, capybaras sleep during the day and are most active at dawn, dusk, and nighttime. Despite being such large animals, they are surprisingly good swimmers and spend lots of time in the water. Their webbed feet allow them to paddle themselves along easily, and their nostrils are located high up on their snouts so they can breathe while most of their body is submerged. Some people have said that they've seen capybara bars swimming underwater with their eyes open, but we can't confirm that claim. But don't worry, they can definitely see underwater just fine without being able to open their eyes. Their eyes are adapted to see clearly both in and out of the water. Now, we've mentioned that capybara are intelligent creatures, and one reason for that is that they are known to use tools. Yeah, seriously, they use tools. Scientists studying a group of captive capybaras noticed that they would use sticks to scratch themselves, and have concluded that they either learned this behavior from one another or were born with innate ability. Either way, it's not common for rodents to use tools. So this is pretty big news in the world of rodent research. And as more studies are conducted, we might find out that other rodents use tools as well. Another reason capybaras are considered intelligent is because they are known to recognize themselves in mirrors. Self-recognition in animals is considered to be a sign of self-awareness or consciousness. Only a handful of species are known to pass the mirror test, including great apes, dolphins, magpies, African gray parrots, dogs, and yes, capybara. However, a recent study found that the capybara's success rate in recognizing themselves in a mirror was only about 50%, which isn't that impressive compared to the 80% recognition rate of chimpanzees. And honestly, scientists aren't quite sure how to interpret this data. It could mean that capybaras are truly less self-aware than other animals, or it could just mean that they were in the mood to take the test. After all, who wants to stare at their own butt all day? So now you know a little bit about the strange and interesting lives of capybaras. As you can probably tell, these guys are highly intelligent creatures with a lot of bizarre behaviors. Maybe they're not just cute after all. Thanks for watching. We hope you learned something new. If you did, hit that like button and share this video with a friend. Don't forget to subscribe and come back soon for more fun facts about rodents. Rodents, we love them.